The drop is coming in 3, 2, 1. Oh! What's up, bros? What's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. If you guys remember, about 2 weeks ago, I made a gig log in which I showed you guys that I was using some CO2 cannons. And you guys absolutely went crazy for it. I have made videos on CO2 before, but I figured this time I'd make a dedicated video on the CO2 cannon. First thing, you're gonna need CO2, obviously. Additionally, there is a special tank that you need to go out and get. As you guys can see, at the front of this tank, there's a large sign that says siphon. This will not work unless you have a siphon tank, otherwise known as a dip tube tank. It basically has a tube that pulls from the bottom and makes it like a spray. If you get a traditional tank, there is a trick that you can do to still achieve that effect, but it's very dangerous and I don't recommend that you play around with these tanks. The trick is basically having the tank upside down. Don't do that. Don't recommend that. You can also tell if it's a siphon tank or not by the red tops. Usually the siphon tanks will always have this red top that you see here. If you go out and buy your own tank, it might not have this red top. One of the things that I recommend you guys do is that you invest in little cozies. It makes these tanks a little bit more inconspicuous to the naked eye so that your venue doesn't get freaked out when they see this big old silver thing. These cozies are made by Co2 Cannon. They also make my handheld blaster. This is the older model. They do have a newer one, which I have somewhere up there on that shelf. I'm going to list the Co2 Cannon website down below where you can get your own gun if you want to use a gun, or if you want to get some cozies. These cozies help in transport because when you're moving these tanks, you're going to notice that it's very scary when these tanks are banging up against each other. I typically get 4 tanks. I get 20-pound tanks for about 25 bucks. 4 tanks is $100. For this gun, you can get away with just 2 tanks. For the blasters, you're going to need way more CO2, so you're going to need at least 4 tanks. So, as you guys can see here, it's got a zipper here. All you do is just put it on like a nice snuggly little jacket. When you get a blaster from Co2 Cannon, it does come with a hose, and it's usually going to come with one of these plastic little wrenches. It's super easy to set up. I've already made a video on this, but I'll show you guys this before we move on to the cannon. Take your wrench, you slide it through, go to your tank, you start tying it with your hand as tight as you can. Now to tighten these up, we're just going to take our wrench and just going to make sure that we're going to tighten it as hard as possible. We don't want any air leaking when we're doing this. We're going to take our hose, we're going to pull back and apply our gun. Now let's go ahead, turn it on, see if we have any leaks. So there you guys see it, it's on, we're ready to go. You guys hear a sound? This rigid case from Home Depot, bought it for like 20 bucks, houses our CO2 cannons, and this is what you guys saw in my last video. I bought these blasters or cannons quite a while ago, and I didn't make an unboxing video. I did film one, but I just never posted it just because I didn't think you guys would be interested. It turns out I was wrong. I got a lot of feedback from you guys telling me to make a video on these. So this right here is the cannon. Look at it. Woo! She is a beauty, no? They do make more sophisticated versions of this that even have LEDs built in, like a whole par can. In my opinion, you are fine with something like this. If you guys can see there, I angled these a little bit because I didn't want them shooting straight up in the air. Out of the box, they're gonna shoot straight up. In order to do that, you will just have to loosen this bolt here, place it in the position that you want, and then tighten it back up. These are a little bit different than the gun because these do require power. As you guys can see, there's a power con in and power con out, so you can daisy chain these together. Alternatively, you can use this via DMX, as you guys can see, or you could just fire by pressing on, boom, and boom. You can also buy a big red button. It's actually something that's pretty cool. I wanted to get it myself, but I just don't use the CO2 enough. Essentially what that does is it allows you to plug in your machines, and then you'll just have a big red button that you can press on your drop. In my crate, I also have a couple of other things. I have some DMX cables. I'm going to show you guys how I hook these up. So I have the power con cables. Lastly, I have some wrenches. These are the same plastic wrenches that you guys saw with the other gun, but these are metal ones. I do have a traditional wrench in here as well. This same wrench is great for both angling your nozzle here as well as tightening up the tank. But in my opinion, when it comes to tanks, you're better off getting one of these wrench things. Highly recommend these wrench things. Alright, so now let's plug these in so that you guys can see how to properly and safely set these bad boys up. Let's do it. Keep in mind whenever you're doing special effects of any kinds, that includes CO2 or dry ice or even smoke or haze machines, you always have to check with your venues. But I always tell my clients it's up to them to make sure that the effects are allowed in the venue. The reason I do this is because venues are going to be way nicer to the clients than they are going to be to the DJ. The clients are cutting the venue a check, so obviously they want them to be happy. Secondly, instruct your clients on how to properly ask if you can bring these effects in. I always tell my clients, never ever 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 tell them that you're bringing smoke machines, smoke guns, or anything, because it's gonna freak them out. Make sure they refer to it as CO2, not smoke. That goes the same for Dancing on the Clouds. Tell them that you want to bring in a dry ice machine to do Dancing on the Clouds. Never say that you're bringing in a smoke machine, because venues get freaked out. So instruct your clients on how to properly ask. Some venues will allow you to have CO2, but they do have some rules that go with that. And a lot of venues now require that you secure your tanks down. And if you're using trussing just like I am, I'm going to show you guys how to secure your tanks so that your venue doesn't have a hissy fit. So right there, I have my 20 by 20 plate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure my tank using ratchet straps. I recommend that you get white ratchet straps similar to the ones I have here. I'm going to list them down below as well so that they blend in nicely with your truss scrims. So as you guys can see, there's a washer inside. I got my tool here. Want to make sure that your tool is having the bent part towards you. That way it's easier to twist. Gonna go ahead and apply. Same thing as we did with the gun. We're gonna do it with our hands first. We're gonna just do it with our fingers until we can't tighten up anymore. Once we can't tighten anymore with our hands, we're gonna go ahead and tighten with our tool until we can't tighten anymore. Now we wanna hide our hose, so I'm gonna feed just the slack that I need underneath, and I'm gonna go right into our cannon, which is right back there. With this one, you want to be very careful. You want to pull this circular tab here all the way down as far as you can, and then you're going to push the hose in as deep as you can, like so, and then make sure it locks. Double check, and we're good to go. Now let's tuck in our cables to make everything nice. So up top we have our Focus Spot 3Zs. Love those bad boys right there. We are controlling these completely wireless. This is just a power cable going up here to our silent generator. And then we have our wireless DMX controller, which is the Airstream DMX bridge. This little device connects to a tablet or an iPhone like I'm doing today. I'm going to be using my iPhone. I'm going to send a DMX signal from my phone to this modem, and this modem is then going to translate that signal up to this light. This light receives wireless signal with this antenna right here, and then we're using it as a transceiver to send a DMX signal. So we're taking the DMX out from this light and we're going up to our focus spot, and then we're doing a chain. We're going to daisy chain that signal out of our focus spot down to control our blasters. I programmed this to my Airstream DMX. It's at channel 67. We have DMX going in and PowerCon. Alternatively, this is a more pro-grade fixture, so if you guys are using 5-pin DMX, there's also 5-pin DMX there. I have made a video on how I built these totems so that they're just plug and play, how I did the light that lives in here, how I set everything up, how I did the harnesses, and all that stuff. I did do a video on it. I'm going to list it above. Now, if you don't have something like the Airstream DMX bridge from American DJ, there are some alternatives like these guys right here. These are donor DMX dongles, and I highly recommend them if you want to do wireless DMX. You have a transceiver, so this is the antenna. You plug this in to your controller, and then you have receivers. You plug this into your light. So you can buy a bunch of these receivers, just one transceiver, and then you can come out of your controller or out of a light and send DMX signal to other lights. If you guys would like to see a video on these donor DMX dongles, let me know down in the comments below. I'll make a video on how you can use these. Let me know if you guys want to see that down in the comments below. White ratchet strap to match our scrim, and I'm just gonna toss it around here. I'm gonna give myself a little too much slack there. Pull this back. Now we ratchet strap. All right, and now it's fully strapped in. This thing ain't going nowhere. Before we fire it, you should check to make sure that they are receiving signal. This way you don't waste any air. You want to listen for a click. That lets us know that the valve is opening and closing. So if I go ahead and press fire, the DMX control is pretty basic. It only requires 2 channels. It's pretty simple to use. You have on and off, which basically means the valve is either open or closed. And then you have a blast time. I think the cutoff is 4 or 5 seconds. I think it might actually be even 3 seconds. I'm not sure. When we're turning on the valve, this requires a lot more pressure, so you're gonna have to turn this up all the way. So here is the final walkthrough. Don't mind that bulge. There are 2 scrims on this totem. I've been going for a wrinkly look lately, but I kind of don't like it anymore, so I think I'm gonna go back to just using 1 scrim as opposed to 2 scrims. You do see the hose there. I could have tightened it up a little bit, but I'm sure on space here, as you guys can see, it's very narrow here in my storage unit. Typically the power runs back into the wall, so you can't see that either, but I want you guys to ignore that. Don't mind my mess today here. So let's pretend we're up in the club. The ladies are looking smoking. The lights are going absolutely crazy, like you can see behind me. Let's go ahead and shut these lights off actually. Dope EDM track is playing, and the drop is coming in 3, 2, 1. Oh! And alright bros, that's gonna do it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know down in the comments below. Additionally, don't forget that we are doing a giveaway of a DJ controller. We're giving away a Pioneer SB3. If you'd like to be entered to win, all you have to do is follow me on Instagram, listed right on the screen now. Like this video, be subscribed to this channel, and turn on that bell so that you can be notified next time we do another video like this and another giveaway. So be sure to do all those things to increase your chances of winning that SB3. Also, don't forget that there are links to everything I talked about in this video down in the description of this video. Additionally, if you want to support the channel, buy yourself a piece of merch. We got brand new Friends merch, yeah. Or you can buy my DJ planning forms, DJ sound effects, or DJ TV visuals that are also listed in the description of this video and up at the card above. Signing off, DJ Barr. Stay awesome, bros. Peace.